Hello there. The audio and video sync on my phone is a little off, so I'm going to talk slow. What you see before you is the Arduino Uno I have. This is a prototyping shield. This is the receiver. Camera's not going to autofocus, but there you go. Conveniently, I can get PPM signal. So this yellow wire here, PPM signal in. Got to go to pin 8, and I'm using servo decode to take a look at it. This orange and red pair gives me power and ground. This is white and brown. Gives me, what does that give me? 5 volts and ground. So let's see, that is, yeah. So these two, this brown and white pair that I'm moving right here, powers the relay board. Over here, got 4 pins, 1 for each relay. Yeah, I just realized that was hot. Probably wasn't a good idea. Oh, and that's upside down. So you can just label there, voltage, input 1 through 4, and ground. Each one of these relays has a corresponding LED. So this one is number 1, this one down here is number 4, and this powers on, this green one turns on when the board has power. So if I turn all 4 of these relays off, they'd all be off. You can see the 2 on right now. So the point of this is to be a safety controller for my remote control lawnmower. I've got one relay that's going to control the brakes, so the motors have brakes already on them. You apply voltage, the brakes engage or disengage, you remove voltage, and obviously the other happens. I think you apply voltage to have them release. This way that works as a failsafe. I'm making particular effort to call this a safety controller because if this fails, there's nothing really guaranteed to make it fail in any kind of safe position. But once this is not necessarily going to do a whole lot more, at least initially. I mean, I might put some more sensors on it or something to evaluate other conditions, but the gist of it is this Arduino is going to potentially kill the motor or the engine, or gauge or the actuator that I have. It's reversible. It's a motor-based actuator. You can see the link in wherever it was. It's from Amazon. So you put positive and ground in one way, and the other direction it goes away. So what I've decided to do is use 2 relays to get the most travel out of the actuator. So in one position, it will allow the motor to run. In another position, it will remote load the motor. And it works by pulling and pushing on the dead man switch. So what I've got to my right here, and that's my roommate, what I've got to my right here is the Hobby King transmitter associated with this receiver. So what's going to happen, and what I was trying to show you earlier today while I was at work, the point of this is that the Arduino is going to evaluate the signal coming from this transmitter, which as you can see right now is not on.
He's going to turn red lights on.
It's off. Yes, the point is to turn the red lights on and off at appropriate times. So what I want to happen when I turn this on is for it to disengage the brakes by closing a relay or opening a relay. Then I want it to undo the relay for the actuator that's currently on, So right now, one of these relays represents the brakes, and another represents the actuator. Now, because of the actuator is the way it is, it's not going to stay latched. Eventually, once I get this problem sorted out, I will work on the timer function and some kind of a pulse. But for the time being, I'm latching it because I'm having problems with my logic somewhere. Or I'm assuming it's my logic. I'm not entirely sure. So right now I've got the actuator set one way. In this case, it's set to kill the motor or the engine. I can't find one term to call it, so I keep calling it motor or the engine. And the other has the brakes engaged. So what you'll see here, and the code I'm running right now is the Safety Controller 2A. It's the one I cleaned up since people didn't like all my comments and the messy code I had. So it's the one you're looking at. What's going to happen is I'll turn the transmitter on. It will recognize that it's on, and then 5 seconds later turn it off. Now eventually, once I get to real time or production level code, it's not just going to be just 5 seconds period, obviously, because you need to mow the lawn for more than 5 seconds. But this is to test the timing function and the digital write stuff. So because I'm having a problem with digital write, and I don't know if it's because it's nested in a loop or some if, or I don't know. But here, I'll show you what's going on. So the problem is, so I'll turn this on. You can see the green light. Well, that's awesome. Nice. Well, it was working. It shouldn't boot up that way. It's only supposed to boot up with 3. Relay 3. There we go. So I just turned it on. You saw the light. You heard the switch. The one turned on. And then at the end, so the LED 1 turned on, and then these two turned on. The 2 and 3. What was supposed to happen is LED 1 was supposed to go off, because LED 1 and LED 2 represent the actuator. So it's 2 different relays, and if you engage them both, it would apply 12 volts to both sides of the actuator, and I don't know if that would fry something, or I don't know what happened. But you can see right here, and you can look at my code, that I'm explicitly telling it to turn off before I turn the other ones on. And I'm looking at the engine kill function and the engine allow. I turn one relay off and then turn another relay on using digital write. I see this same behavior with digital write fast. And I don't know if you can really see it here. It's not doing it. Sometimes this first LED over here is a little bit dimmer under these circumstances. And someone was trying to tell me because it's switching on and off at 24 times a second or something, and no, there's no relay clicking. You can hear that. The clicking you hear right now is my dog walking down the floor. The relay has not clicked into the other position, so it's still on. The relay is still engaged the way it would be when voltage is applied. Now what I'm going to do is turn the transmitter off. Now you see that the LED 1 turned off. So now, theoretically, if I turn this on again, which this was the point I was at as far as code process when I started the video. I had already gone through it once or twice. So theoretically, when I flip this switch on, it'll go to, you'll see the LEDs move. So what happened were relays 2 and 3 went off, and relay 1 came on. Oh, you didn't even hear the relays click that time. But now all 3 LEDs are on, and they're about the same brightness. So now if I turn it off, 1 goes off, which it's supposed to. I turned the transmitter on, one goes on, and now here, right then, that changed. One was supposed to go off, and 2 and 3 were supposed to stay on. That is just of the problem I'm having. So, I'm not entirely sure. Wait a minute. Now that I talk this out, I think I know what's going on.